Thank you very much for coming for this presentation. I'm really happy see you there. So today we'll talk about real estate. Real estate is a very hot topic, always. And I will tell you today about myself, so you know where I came from and what to expect from me. Then I will tell you about some myths and truths about real estate, because I got client questions, and sometimes they ask the same question, so I thought it's nice to tell about those concerns. And then I will tell you about selling the house and about buying the house, certain steps, and what makes sense to do and what maybe doesn't. And I will wrap up with some statistics. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. My background, I'm Russian, I'm from Moscow, and we came to Canada 10 years ago, almost 11. And when we came, we landed up in Waterloo. My eldest son, he just graduated from school and he got admission to University of Waterloo. So I didn't have any family, any friends in Canada, and we decided to stay all together. So we moved to Waterloo until my son graduated from computer science, and he found a job in Toronto. He moved to Toronto, and we followed him because we like to live together. Maybe not to Toronto, but obviously I grew up in Moscow. I like big city. I like events. I like theaters. I like sports events. So for me, it's very very convenient that I can hop and go, and half an hour I am in downtown. I like jazz. I like night bars with live music. So obviously
we're gonna start.
Come, let's go. Sure, let's do it.
So my two kids, now they are in high school. Grade 10, she's 15, and grade 12, he's almost done with the school. So my son, he's thinking of business, and he got already admission to York and to McMaster's, but he has some other he expects to receive. So he is good. He has high grades, and I'm very proud of him. And my daughter, she is in between of makeup artist, outdoor engineer. She's taking auto at school, and event planner, because she is actually teaching skiing at the ski club at Glen Eden, and she is doing birthday parties for kids.
Is that all?
So, she's busy. She's trying it all.
She's trying it all, you're right. And my little dog, Knuckles. This dog is very special for our family, because my daughter, she had sleep problems since she was born until she turned 9. That was the day when we got the dog. The dog is, by the way, from Las Vegas. We got from the shelter. We got him from Petcetera. And the dog, he healed. My daughter, I don't know how that works, but the day we got the dog, she started sleeping, and she never had a problem with her sleep anymore. So this is my saver, because she didn't sleep, I didn't sleep. I was almost like, I was exhausted. Terribly exhausted. So I really follow healthy lifestyle, because that helps me to juggle my duties with my family and with my business, and keep 4 things that are spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional in balance. So I can serve my clients, and I can serve my family.
By the way, you all look like that you're the same age in there. Like, you do not look like the mother.
Thank you. I accept that. My education. So I graduated from Moscow High Technical School as an optical electronical engineer. It's a Bachelor of Science translated to Canadian education. But I didn't work according my major because that time, that was a year when everything fell apart in my country and engineers got like miserable salary. There were no government contracts for those institutions, and it was just very miserable time. And then that was a time actually one door closes and another door opens. So that's how I started my own business. I opened my own business. It was wholesale jewelry, fashion jewelry, and at the same time I did houses flipping. It was sort of flipping, and it was different. The situation was completely different than in Canada because we didn't have land transfer taxes. It was easy, buy and sell, and that was a very interesting experience. And I think I inherited that from my mother, because my mother, she was an engineer as well, but part-time she was doing some real estate. And we were improving our living arrangements, and we were moving from place to place and getting better and better apartment every time. So I think I inherited from my mother this itch for moving and itch for real estate. And when I came to Canada, I didn't really understand a lot of things, especially about Canadians, about psychological things, about relationship. And actually my English wasn't that great, so to learn English, instead of going to English second language classes, I took human resources management course, which gave me whole perspective of what it takes to live in Canada and understand people and their problems, and also gave me better English and communication skills and teamwork, because human resources, we had so many teamwork projects. I grew up a lot from only that program. And next, I think it was my kind of stepping stone where I get into real estate, because I had inclination into real estate, I think from a long time ago. But to do real estate, actually, it was scary for me, because those 3 mandatory courses, at a time, 3 years ago, to get license, you have to take 3 courses. And that is nothing. That is just very, very basic impression of what it is to trade real estate. And I thought, no, I can't do that. I cannot serve anyone now, because I just don't have enough education. So I start taking, instead of getting into business and doing something, I start taking courses. And after I took about 5 courses, 6 courses, I start feeling that, okay, now I feel more comfortable to serve my clients. And then I didn't stop on that. I kept going, and I took all 12 courses that are available through ARIA, and my final was this August. I graduated from broker course, which is the highest designation for a realtor. Beside of that, I got 2 designations: senior real estate specialist designation, that gave me a lot of understanding of what problems are seniors face when they are moving, what they need, how they approach, how complicated for them, and how much we have to learn and to understand their situation, to be patient. Not think that they are just like little kids. Today they want this, tomorrow they want that, but really understand what they're going through. And CNA, it's a course, Certified Negotiation Expert, because I believe that negotiations in real estate They are so important when you understand the way how to negotiate right. And I think now I have a strategy, and every time I do another transaction, I just believe that it works very well, and every time I do it again and again, I improve and I build on that. I took staging course. It's not, actually I took it not to become a stager, to do staging, but to understand that I have no idea what it is about, and I don't want to get into that.
It's okay, I'll help.
Yes. Yes, but actually it gave me good understanding of what I want from a stager, what kind of stager I want to have by my side to serve my clients, and not only stager for selling, but stager, as Shardy mentioned, stager for living. It's also very important because my own experience. So beside of that, I had my own experience before I got licensed. I moved, I sold and bought 10 times in Canada for my own. Yeah, we came to one house we didn't like, we wanted to switch to change, to buy bigger. Then my family fell apart, my husband moved back to Russia, and I had to move downside again. And then I had also property in Collingwood, and like there were a lot of things going on. And every time I work with my clients, I am working with the standpoint of how would I want a realtor being with me. So, and when I moved from Waterloo to Oakville, I had a stager who came and staged my house. And I felt so good about it. I thought, oh, I don't really want to move to another house.
Usually what happens, yeah.
So
What happens?
first thing, when I moved to my new house, I called her and I said, you know what, come and stage here because I want to live here. And I thought that it's so important to, because why to do it at the end of living?
Exactly.
Let's do it at the beginning.
Exactly.
So now when I purchase for my clients a house, first thing I hired a real stager. Unfortunately, I didn't meet Shardy at that time. But I gave them a house warming gift, a consultation with some suggestions how to stage. They are first-time home buyers. They have no idea what to do, and like they think, oh, I think we want rustic look. And I thought maybe you want it for now, but not for forever. So, and I don't want to explain that to them because I'm not a professional, but I want a professional to tell them, like, maybe you go with something more generic and then you can accessorize, or like, I don't know. But I think this is a great gift when your clients got a house.
It's a fabulous gift.
Yeah. And ongoing professional development courses, because I don't want to be a dinosaur. I want to stay abreast of all trends, and so many things are going on. You have no idea. So many, for example, when I started, like 10 years ago, when I purchased my first second house here, nobody staged. I mean, it was very rare somebody staged. But now, if you are not staged, or at least accessorized, it just looks so different, so like outdated.
You're at the back of the pack.
Yes.
Especially with older people, they're used to old.
Yeah, and it's so much harder to sell this house. And buyers, they come and say, oh, no, we don't like, we have...
Most people don't have imagination to see how they can live in a place. They don't. So you have to help them.
And they want to buy and move on. They don't want to buy and renovate because it's expensive, and they don't know how much money you have to invest before you proceed with that. So my brokerage, we have 7 offices within GTA, and that is very convenient. So we have office in Toronto, we have office in Mississauga, in Burlington, this is the office. Richmond Hill, Durham, Vaughan, Newmarket. And when I was working with my buyers, they wanted to see so many different areas beside of Oakville. Oakville was our last destination. And it's nice to go to any area and knowing that I have an office, because if I want to discuss something with my clients, I don't want to go to Starbucks, I want to go to a private room. So I really appreciate, because most of brokerages, for example, I used to be with Realty or Remax, and they have offices, but they are all in Oakville, or maybe there is one in Toronto, but not 7 offices. We have in-house vendors, lawyer, home inspector, mortgage broker, and so many others. And it's convenient that if you have questions, we can call and ask. Sometimes we need to make very fast decision, and if we don't have a lawyer, it's not very helpful. We have those vendors, they come to presentation. Our lawyer comes every week, and he is doing, because everything is changing, law is changing, new cases are coming, and new precedents happening, and perspective is shifting from time to time. So it's very important to know what's going on. Home inspector, he comes, he shows us pictures, because you can talk about kiting, but if you've never seen it, you would never know, and you go with the buyers, and when you've seen it on the picture and you see it in the house, you already know where to direct your buyer, that it can be a dangerous purchase. It can be involved a lot of, you have to spend a lot of money to get rid of this outdated, and your insurance may go like skyrocketing. Yeah, so I talked already about the knowledgeable managers and assistants, and great culture. Our realtors, maybe I don't know all of them, but I know that it's a friendly environment. I come to my brokerage, everybody is happy, everybody is asking, how are you? And people are so nice here. You don't feel this competitiveness, and you can share, you can ask, for example, my client who bought with me her apartment, she is a CPA, and she was looking to expand. She wanted to buy an office, and she wanted a commercial office, commercial property. I never done commercial, but I want to help you to make sure that she's in good hands. So here we have a commercial broker, and he consulted me, and he gave me idea what I have to look for, and he said I can be with you in this transaction to make sure everything's done right. So it's really very, for me it means a lot when you are with like-minded people and you don't feel any competitiveness or any stress.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll talk about real estate myths and truths. So some clients, I noticed, they think like if we set the price, if we think this is the right price, this is the price what house will be selling for eventually. But in reality, the price of the home is set not by the owner, but by the market. What's available, supply and demand, high and low season. Now I have a couple who are renting, and the landlord is selling their house, and they actually thought, oh, maybe we can check the market, and maybe we can rent something less expensive, because they rented, it was August, and in August we could find in Burlington, on only 2,600 per month. But now the season for renting is low, and now you can find a similar property for 2,100 per month. So they want to take advantage of the situation that landlord asks them to leave before their contract is over, so they will be eligible for 1 month rent less, and they at the same time they will move to a lease. So that's because of the market, not because the owner thinks, oh, okay, my house is 2,600 forever. No, it will be higher for before fall, because people want to move their kids to specific schools. So an agent also is not setting the price, and even appraisal. If you ever dealt with appraisals, there are different sort of appraisals. Appraisals for banks, for lending institutions, for insurance companies, and they're not giving you, they're giving you the price for that specific purpose that they were hired to do the appraisal, but it won't be the market value. Market value established only by the market. Open house brings serious buyers. That's very questionable. I cannot say no, because I know certain situations when buyer came to the open house and purchased. But majority of realtors say that this is almost never happened. This may be 1%. But we still do open houses, and I'll tell you why. So first, another reason to do open house, agents, they hope to grab a buyer for next transaction, for another transaction, because buyers, they come, maybe they don't want to buy this house, but maybe they want to buy another house. But it's more for the agent, not for the seller. But what is good for the sellers in open houses, that it reduces traffic through the house when seller lives in the house still. The owner lives in the house. When the house goes for sale, if you don't do open houses at all, then there will be still people who want to see it. Neighbors who have friends, realtors, and they will ask, oh, can you show me that house? And they will come through your house, and that will disturb your life, and that might be very stressful. So it's better to do at least 2 open houses. And majority of people go through those 2 hours, and you won't have that situation when you have to go out of your house and clean, and like it will be just a little bit too much. Somebody, some clients, they bring concerns that we don't want people through the open house because they're afraid that somebody can be stolen, or I don't know. But in this situation, what I offer to bring another realtors. For example, if it's 2-story house, one is on 1 floor, another is on the 2nd floor. Or we close the door and we let only certain amount of people through the open house at a time. Realtors are paid a salary. No, realtors do not. Maybe there are certain companies like Property Guys that pay salary. Property Guys, it's almost when the owners are selling, they just put this sign and they put it on MLS. But realtors, they live on commission. And this commission is not set in stone. By the way, for you to know, you can discuss that. It's a matter of if agent willing to adjust or not, but there is no rule that commission is this and that. I I just went because I was just curious, because I know that you are coming from different areas. In Oakville, commission is 2.5% for each realtor, like it's 5% in total. Some big teams like Dan Cooper, they sometimes charge 6%. So seller, when he sells a house, he charges 6%, 5% in, it's more common. But I noticed, I looked at Burlington and Hamilton, and I noticed that the commission that offered to cooperating brokerage who brings the buyer, it's 2%, 2.25. So I guess that they might take 4% for the full commission, and then they divide it equally, or sometimes. So and also I wanted to add on that commission always includes HST. So if it's 5%, it's 5% plus HST. It's all services we have in Canada. And another one that realtor keeps of the commission. No, it's not. I heard at some events that lady, she was talking, she sold, and she said, oh, but realtor, I paid 5% from the whole amount. And yeah, it's huge, but when you realize that this commission is divided by 2 agents, and then each agent from his commission splits with the brokerage. If the agent on a team, he splits with the team, and then he pays memberships and fees and license and insurance and marketing and gas and signs, like everything. Staging consultation, most realtor includes staging consultation. It doesn't mean that stager comes and does it for free. Realtors pay to stager to do that. Some realtors include in the commission 1 coat of paint. Sometimes the realtors do that by themselves, but still it's an expense. Overpriced houses eventually get sold. No, they do not, unfortunately.
That's right.
And
And
next boom.
yeah, and I looked through MLS for last month. In Oakville, in Burlington, in Hamilton, situation is the same. Most of the houses sold for less. Most of the houses of the properties, they have the sign that the arrow down. That means they sold with the reduction. Yeah, it was reduced. It was reduced, or it was negotiated, but to lower.
Yeah.
And only few properties. Still, we have bidding wars. Still, we have multiple offers. Not a lot, but it's just very small amount. It may be around 5%. But most of the properties go down in price in this market. And what happens when you put your house for sale and you overpriced it? First, you have a lot of buyers coming through, a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and you feel, oh, the offer is coming soon, and you still have, and then this flow goes down, and no offer. And then you see your neighbor's house came for sale. And again, you see a lot of people coming through. But what you cannot notice, if you have a camera in your house, you might be able to see that the realtor brings the client to a house and say, you know what, you see, this house is almost the same, but it's more expensive. So does it make to buy this house or that? So that's how they
Selling tax.
yeah, because they want to sell. It doesn't matter which house, but they want to buy a house for their buyer. But they want to show that this house is almost the same, but it's higher in price. But the neighbor's house is less expensive. So Buyer goes there and buys, and you're again sitting. I have my personally this situation when I was selling a house in Collingwood, and my realtor, she agreed, like we agreed on the price, we put the price, but in Collingwood it's a very specific market. It's either people buy for skiing, for winter season, either they buy for summer. So if you didn't buy in spring, that means house will stay half a year. And we put house on sale, and it's not selling, and it's not selling, and it's not selling, and I feel already spring is coming. So spring is coming, so that means that if by the end of the spring it won't be sold, then it won't be sold till fall. And then we reduce the price, and house was sold. But the amount of stress, because you see the other houses are selling and yours is not. So I think it's better to get right price. And even if you go a little bit lower, you may, if you think that you priced underpriced because you got an offer very quickly, you can refuse. You cannot sell for this money. You can say no, I don't want to sell, and you review and you put it a little bit higher. And this often happens. I noticed there was an apartment in Oakville that was listed for $3,069, and then in 6 days it was cancelled and relisted for $387. So my scenario is this: they got an offer, and they decided, oh no, it was too soon. We can wait and we can try higher. But you can do this if you have time. But I think it's a strategy. It's not like I want to overprice my house. If you have enough time, you can do that still. But you have to know the right price for your house. In this way, if you don't sell it in a time, you allocate it to that, then you can put it lower and sell. Also, it's harder to negotiate when it's overpriced. Like, it's very hard because buyer, they think you are desperate. The house, it stays long on the market, it's overpriced, and buyer, they go lowball, and it's not a very pleasant situation to be in. But you can still try it. So that's the steps when you're selling the house. I think this is one of the most important things, to know the right price for your house and develop a strategy. And to know the right price, we go to the neighborhood, closest neighborhood, and we go to the few months, very, very narrow time frame to have most updated information. And even we drive through, because there might be different things that you cannot see on MLS, but when you are actually in the neighborhood, you can see it. Some houses, they have more advantages than others, and that influences the price as well. So when you have right price, you can set up selling strategy. You can overprice or you can underprice it, and it also depends on the market. Then you have to prepare your house for showcasing. To my experience, fresh coat of paint, light colors, staging is a good thing. When you have a vacant house, staging can make a huge difference for selling. Marketing is important when it's done right. There are two kinds of marketing. Marketing to sell the property, or marketing to sell the agent, to get new clients. And marketing to sell the property, I think this the one of the most important thing is to do right photography and videography, because you don't have second chance to make first impression.
That's correct.
Also, there is another strategy. There are companies that do video tour. So there are many points on the floor plan, and you click on this point and it shows you 360. So what makes it that the buyer stays longer on this video tour, and he stays longer, and he likes, and he established the contact with that property, emotional contact, and that might be important for, like, that make be a difference. Pre-selling home inspection. I don't see a lot of pre-selling home inspections here in Oakville, in Burlington, but when I was going with my buyers in Toronto, in Scarborough, in Etobicoke, we saw home inspections everywhere. Almost every house had pre-selling home inspection, and what it does for the house, that you already, when you buy the house, you already know what's not right in this house. So all cards are on the table. And when you do your own home inspection, your home inspector gives you the same results, and like, you cannot do much about it. But if the home inspection wasn't done, and you go with your home inspector, and your home inspector says, oh, this is not good, this is broken, this is, and then you can negotiate. You can go to the seller and say, these things are not in a working order, or this thing is, for example, renovation was done without building permit, and you can negotiate. You can start negotiating, and once you start negotiating, if the owner wants to sell, he will negotiate. But if your inspection is done, you cannot say much. You cannot tell that, oh, this is not done properly, because it's already, you already accepted that when you saw the house and when you saw home inspection. So I think there is a benefit in it.
So Irina, you're saying that the seller is actually doing
Yes,
home.
yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea,
Yeah.
because then everything's up front, right?
I even include this in price.
Oh, that's a
In
great
my marketing.
Yeah.
Public and member open houses. So we talked about public open houses, but we usually do an open house for members, for other realtors. First, when a realtor comes to your house, to your client's house, they see and they already have a feel of that house. Second, they give you feedback. They can tell you certain things. Some realtors are really, really very friendly, and they even can tell you, you know what, maybe here you could paint this room in this color that will kind of open space. Or some realtors, actually, when I go to the house and I feel a little bit of scent, like smell, I think it's very important, because when house has smell, people don't like it. Like buyers, they don't like it. It's better to even opening some windows is enough to get rid of that.
Or cleaning.
Yeah, deep clean.
Deep clean.
Yeah.
Nothing says a beautiful home that is clean.
Cinnamon in a pot, and you have it smelling like cinnamon when you walk in the house.
But the
like
problem with
home.
that is people these days think that you're trying to hide something when you do that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
There are some tricks. Some realtors do. They buy cookies in the store and they put it in the oven and warm up a little bit, and then
yeah,
mix.
that's what this is.
But you cannot mask every
No,
smell.
but it's still.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes just open windows.
Yeah.
relax.
Just hire this girl
Yeah,
to clean your house.
that's a biggie. Clean.
Yeah, because those cleaning guys, they know tricks as well. Like baking soda or lookbox. Sometimes agents, I don't want actually to tell anything negative, but we had a long history of getting licensed in a very easy way. It was extremely easy for anybody to get licensed. 3 courses, multiple choices, which are very easy to predict. Even there are tutorials where it was super easy to get. I was taking courses and there are agents who didn't even speak English. They didn't speak English, but they passed. And when it comes to selling houses, you never know who comes, what agent. I hope good, but some agents, they come back without permission. This happened. That's a reality of our life. So I like when I put logbox. We are moving to electronic logboxes. It's new generation, where each showing will have different combination.
So you know which realtor can when.
Yeah. But now logbox works. You gave combination and realtor comes.
You don't know who came.
You know who came, but then realtor goes and thinks, oh,
I want to go back.
maybe, or maybe, oh, I know the combination, maybe I will bring another card.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
No.
So I change combination every 2-3 days. I change combination. It's a little bit of work because I have to change it in the system, but I think it's worth it. What else is important? Statistics, analytics. We have certain tools that we can see the traffic through the property MLS listing. So we can see when we have a lot of showing, a lot of interest, people click on that through realtor.ca, and we can see when it's not very great. So that means it's a sign of the market, something wrong with your price, or something else should be done in the house. So that's how we can have another discussion. Offer and negotiations, yes, it's pretty much straightforward. Now we don't have this crazy situation with bidding wars. And post-selling services. When people moving to a new house, they need so many things. They need trades, they need family doctor, they need schools, they need, so everything, it's all realtors' obligation. Who was involved in the transaction? If you bought, then you, or if you sold, if you bought, it's the same thing. You have to provide, and it's very nice to have a list of people, and that's why I go to networking events, because I like to know people who I refer, and to make sure that I refer right people to my clients. House hunting. So first question, what are we are hunting for? So I prepared the questionnaire. It's 3 pages questionnaire for the buyers when they want to buy. And it's not that they reporting me what they want to buy, but they just have to understand what do they want themselves. And the list of, they have to prioritize their wishes, because sometimes if they know what they want, but this price is not
It's not within their budget.
yeah. So they might realize that here we have to give up something,
Yes.
but those certain things we are not. So my buyers that I just recently served, they wanted commute. And commute, they work in downtown, and we were going through all lines, all goals, and there is also Pearson Airport like this system that we considered until we realized that second, beside of commute, second is safety. So that's how we moved away from Scarborough, because Scarborough is also very convenient to downtown, but you are in a nice neighborhood and then you drive 2 streets and there's housing situation, and when you see police reports, it's shooting once, like every once in a while, so they didn't want that. Once we established what we want to buy, I set them up with auto emails, so they receive emails like property comes to the market right away, they have notification and they can see and they can book a show, we can book a showing and see. And properties go fast, good properties, good houses, they go very fast, even in this market. Searching for hidden gems. So when we establish a specific area where we want to buy, I drive there every day to see if there is any exclusive listing in this area, because some listings, some owners, they don't want to put their listing on MLS. They don't want for certain reasons. They don't want to put other one. They don't want advertise that they selling their house, so they put exclusive listing and agent markets it in another way. But if I drive, I can see exclusive listings and I can find this maybe works for my buyers. Unlimited showings I offer to my clients. We were searching for 3 months. Every weekend we went, and by the end of our journey, when we purchased the house, I had very thick stock of papers of the MLS listings that, and it was very interesting because when they were selling, I put the price, and now it's interesting to go through and to see what was sold for. And you never know. So once we find the property, is the price right? Was it priced right? It's a nice house, but maybe something can be done about the price. So what we do? Research, research, research. Lawyer who is involved in transaction, he does some searches. Home inspection, I go to the city to find out. For example, last transaction was interesting because there was an easement on the property. Easement, it's a right of any authority to actually do something on your property. And if your clients want to build a pool, 99% that they have limitations, and or maybe they won't be able, or if they want to rebuild the house, they have less square footage they can, that's very important. And in city they have a surveyor who can find this information, but it's all like work. Another thing I do, I go to neighbors. In the neighborhood, close neighbors, I go and I ask questions, what happened, because some houses have some stories that we don't want to hear, and we don't want to buy and then find out, and I have. Yeah.
That someone was murdered in the house. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to disclose that.
It's happening.
You have to disclose that, but if they didn't and then you bought, it's a lot of hassle. It's still you can maybe reverse the transaction, but efforts and amount of time and still money will be involved because it may go to litigation, right? So it's better to prevent than to mitigate.
Yes.
With my buyers, what happened? Next house was in a bad shape. There was a car, and the car was rusted. And I went to neighbors and I asked what's going on. And I was told that lady bought, she wanted to rebuild, but there was financial neighbors know everything. They have no idea.
Gladys Kravitz.
And beside of that, she told me about that neighbor and that neighbor and that neighbor. It was a very interesting conversation. It was a little bit cold, but and I love to meet neighbors because they're just so nice people when they start talking and they tell you so many things. And for sure, that's very important for your clients who are going to actually live to this neighborhood. And I tell them about my clients. I tell that this is family, they are moving there, so and so. So actually when we had one of our showings, another neighbor came and said, oh, you know what, you cannot leave the car here because there will be snow plowing machine. So we kind of already established the connection with neighborhood, which I like. When I moved myself, I moved to a new neighborhood. I made a little chocolates, packs of chocolates, and I went to each neighbor on my cul-de-sac and I introduced myself. I took all their numbers and they put in my fridge. And you know what happens? My kids, sometimes they completely, not just like irresponsible. They left the dog in the backyard and they forgot to let him in. It was fall, it was not too cold. But the dog went around the house and came and they left, they gone. They went to some kind of event. And the dog came to the front and neighbor saw the dog and the neighbor, he knew it was my dog, but he had his own dog, so he took my dog and brought to another neighbor. And when I arrived to my house, I saw neighbor running to me and say, hey, is this your dog? I said, no, my dog is at home.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so it's very nice to know your neighbors and to communicate with them, to have connection. Again, offering negotiations, I already post-purchasing and rebates. So what I do for my clients, for the buyers, I give them rebates for home inspection and for lawyer. Why? I don't want them to go cheap because some buyers, they want to find like not expensive, but sometimes it's not the best. My lawyer, he's amazing. He's teaching real estate classes for a real estate institute. He's knowledgeable. He's doing so many things. He's reviewing contracts, and he's so many years in business. And when he was involved in my last transaction, I wasn't disappointed. He did a fantastic job. And home inspector as well. He's an engineer, and he's doing overseeing the renovation projects, and he's doing building permits. Highly, and they are expensive. I know that home inspection you can pay $350, $400. I pay $600, but I know it will be like everything will be discovered. Everything will be determined, and we can make good negotiations and get better price if something is wrong. And he also gives us idea, we need to do renovation, what it may cost, some ideas. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you about statistics, and statistics that we get from our real estate boards. It's very dry. I wanted just to read you that, but prices going down a little bit. I understand that you're tired maybe, and you won't be very excited to hear all that. And I see that maybe you won't find value. I can actually email you that if you want to go through.
Great, that'd be great.
I have all your emails, but I want to tell you it won't be related to your house.
No.
Because it's general. For one house it's more, for another house it's less. But what I do for my clients, for my friends, for people who are thinking about selling or buying, neighborhood, specific, it's example of my neighborhood. My neighborhood, it's Oakville Central, and for month of February, what had happened in in terms of selling and buying. I'm not doing leases for this purpose, but I can definitely do. So this is active listing for sale now. This pending, so those are sold already, their prices. Two were terminated and suspended and cancelled. So we can see what was sold, and we can see how many bedrooms we can compare it with our house and have a rough idea of what's about.
What's DOM stand for?
Days on the market.
Okay.
Days on the market.
Yes,
That's
and
right,
that is
isn't
a
it?
very beautiful house. It was renovated in a very nice style with a lot of wood, and I saw the listing and I thought, oh my gosh, I love this house. Yeah, 2.5 stories. It's a little bit, and a lot of lights. It had a lot of skylights, and very, when it's lit well, it really makes a very good
I
impression.
wish
It's
I
obviously-
lived in Oakville.
It's obviously priced well.
Yeah.
It's priced well.
I wish.
And what's this A stand for?
Sorry?
A's
Active.
Oh, active, okay.
Oh,
so
active.
still-
Active, it's for
Oh,
sale
it just
now.
got listed 5 days
It's
ago.
only 5 days ago.
Yeah. And why were those terminated? Stewart Street and St. Augustine?
Maybe they changed their mind, or
Because it was.
65.
65
91, they said forget it.
They said, probably gonna get them back on the market in the fall.
maybe they will back in the market. Maybe they want to change realtors, because we see that too. They like why we don't like to. We don't want to take overpriced listings unless it's a strategy, because a realtor will be blamed for why it's not selling. A realtor cannot do much about selling if it's overpriced. So sometimes people disappointed. They say, "Oh, you promised me," and some realtors they promise, "Oh, we will sell you," yeah, but they cannot sell, and then the sellers say, "Oh, you promised, but you didn't sell, so we want to terminate. We will want to go with another realtor," and another realtor come and say that it's overpriced.
And do you have issues with clients who won't budge on the price? Do you usually get that? Like if they're set on 800, see this one that's 849, and if you tell them it's not selling, it's too high, and they don't want to budge, do you just continue on, or?
No, I won't, and I tell you why. So I received the card from a realtor. It's one of the famous teams, and what they did,
Oh, I probably know who it is.
it was card sold. It was sold. They sold the house. So, but what they put in it? So this house was sold after another agent couldn't sell it for 5 months, and I thought it's interesting, and I didn't really like it, because I don't like when people like
Throw it in your face.
tell bad, because there's something in it. It's not just
There's a
another
story.
agent. So I went to MLS and I looked at the house. So the house was listed initially for 2,400,000, so around. I just give you these approximate numbers, and then it was reduced for 2,350,000, and then it was reduced again. And then they changed a realtor, and those realtor, they sold it. This team, they sold it for 1,800,000, and they bitch about the previous realtor who did all job. The realtor marketed for so many, and they staged. And staging the house like that, it was maybe 3,000 per month, the furniture. And the realtor did all the job, and he was kicked out of the game. And another team came, sold it in like few days, and then could blame that realtor. But it was sold almost 600, 700 less than initial price. So if that agent didn't take overpriced, but maybe the price, maybe they could get better than 1,800,000. But so I would never take overpriced listing unless it's a strategy. If I tell you that let's list your house for 1,500,000, but I determine the price, fair market value according to day, 1,500,000. if you say I want to list it 1,600,000, and I can tell, yeah, but I told you this price. So if it's not sold for 1,600,000, would you be willing to do that? Otherwise, I may take, but I'm not doing any marketing on that. Which you want every property. You will find another realtor who will do that. And you will find, because we have realtors who will take over price listings.
Wow, very interesting.
The other thing, Irina, when you find those prices of the houses that are really high, one client will look at it knowing that it's high and wait for it to come down. And it's usually the person waiting, as soon as it comes down, he's already seen the house.
Yes.
He's just waiting
Yeah.
for the price to go down.
Yeah. And when I was working with the buyers, on the other side, we also were looking for houses, and we thought, okay, if this house goes down to this price, we will jump right away. Thank you very much for coming. I hope this presentation gave you some kind of feel of